Hey everybody, it's Robert with the Hustle Nation, and you are
Jared Wilson.
And Jared found me on some type of social media. Was it YouTube or
YouTube.
It was YouTube? Okay, he lives locally, but he works out of state, a couple states over. He's a travel nurse, and he took me up on the 15-minute free phone call. So we spoke and everything like that, and I kind of got to hear where he's at financially, what he wants to do, and what quote unquote his ideal life is. And through that conversation, I deducted basically that he wants to have about $10,000 a month coming in by the time he's 40, and so we went a couple more weeks through some back and forth phone calls and text messaging and emails and things of that nature. And tell everybody kind of what it is that got you into investing.
Just the freedom. It's something that you talk about all the time, but for me, having the freedom to kind of do what I want when I want to do it is the most appealing thing to me. So I've always, even through when I was in EMT school, I was sitting on my phone, trading stock, doing whatever I could, even in school,
Right.
just so that I could then pay for EMT school and not have loans on that.
Sure.
I don't really know where it's came from. It's just always been, business has always been something that I love. And I don't know what has started it, but it's kind of snowballed into now real estate and index funds and trading
Right.
and day trading and just anything that I can do to make some money.
Fantastic. So, let me ask you this: when we had the phone call and everything, and I don't remember if I asked you if you wanted to go forward, in a professional sense, as you paying for it, or if you said, "Hey, I do want to, would you help me or whatever?" Did you have any hesitation with doing that?
I think absolutely. I think that's been my biggest thing is fear of the unknown.
Sure.
That's what's held me back from so much and investing before in more real estate. I bought my first house strictly for me, my house.
Right.
And then that's turned into a rental. And I knew that I wanted to continue, but the fear of not knowing what to do, not
Sure.
knowing, am I assessing this right? I ran the numbers on 1,000 houses and didn't move forward with any of them. Not because the numbers didn't make sense, but because I was unsure and,
Sure.
and held back. So, investing in a mentor, it was another fear, but I knew that I finally have gotten to the point where I needed to address the fear of the unknown and be sure of something so that I can continue to grow. And,
Sure.
and I think that you've definitely helped with that.
Cool beans. And I want to tell people is, generally speaking, when somebody comes to me, they haven't done anything, okay? And so they're pretty green and just getting into this thing. And all of this making money without, for lack of better words, physically having to work for it is an adjustment of mindset, because me, generally speaking, everybody, his dad's a plumber, okay? So he's always been active, using his hands and making money and everything. We're always told from a very young age, you got to work hard to be successful. Then what's the second thing? Well, you got to save money, okay? Those are two terrible things, okay? Hard work is great, okay? And it'll get a person to a certain point and everything. Saving money after 90 days to 6 months of living expenses, you should never put another dime in a savings account unless it's specifically earmarked and you need to get it within a year. Otherwise, that stuff needs to be put into some type of investment that's, outpacing inflation by a couple of points. So you and I embark on this relationship, we get to talking and everything, and I sent you a couple houses that you looked at, and then you sent me one that I've driven by. I knew the area and everything like that, and I was like, man, that looks like a good rental. And so tell the people about that place, what the price is, where you got to, and where you're at with it now.
Yeah, so it was listed for, I think, $120,000, 3-bed, 1-bath house. And after visiting the property, it definitely needs some work. They've owned the property for several years and just completely denied all maintenance on the property. They're going through some issues. And so my initial offer that we had settled on, I believe, was $90,000. After getting all of the reports back and seeing everything, we actually came back at $75,000, and we're in contract for $75,000 now. So we're scheduled to close on the 16th.
That's
this month.
That's phenomenal. So a $40,000 spread from where you looked at it to what you're having to pay for it, correct?
Yes.
All right, now, where does the appraised value of the property come in at?
So I just got the appraisal back, I think 2 days ago, and it appraised for $135,000.
So now we're at a $60,000 spread on the property, okay? One thing I do want to tell you all is that when Jared looked at this property and said, hey, I'm going to go take a look at it, I told him to offer $80,000. He was like, I can't do that.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
And I said, if your offer does not embarrass you, you're offering too much. And so then that's the first one that came back at 80. Yep. And thankfully it was close by. I was able to go and meet his parents and his fiance. He is engaged now. She accepted. He asked her the other day, so way cool. But I got to look at the house and everything, and while the homeowner or the home inspector was there, he was getting an inspection done on the property as well. And if you're not a seasoned investor that's done a lot and worked on a lot of properties, I highly suggest spending the couple $100 on an inspector. They can save you thousands in the long run if they encounter something. And so we looked at it and everything, and I said, offer them what, 60 cash or 75 financed or something. And so boom, there you have it. You know, got to save 45,000 right away and everything, and actually going to make, you know, another 20 of walking into it with equity on the place. And it's got a built-in tenant that's already paying rent, that will be paying rent till July. And it will cash flow, and it will have money left over. So there will be profit after all of the expenses, because you have a gross and then you have a net. And the net is after we take out for capital expenses, for this, you know, for the water heater, all that kind of stuff and everything. And there's still going to be some money left over. And then there's even going to be more money left over once the rent increase happens when it comes July. Whether or not those people stay, we don't know. However, this is the thing that ends up happening when you take action, okay? You have got to get out there. You have got to pull the trigger. You have got to make offers, you know. If I was in an acquisition mode myself and not having 5 properties that need repairs, I'd be making at least 5 offers a week, you know. You take crap and throw it up on the wall, something is going to stick, you know. Something to note. In Jared's conversation back and forth with the people and everything, he did find out about the situation that they were in, and that uncovered a motivated seller stigma. And so he was able to kind of capitalize on that and say, hey, look, I can take care of this problem for you all, and let me help you out if you'll help me out on the price and everything. So it worked out real well. I say all of this to pay attention in these conversations, because most people, if you give them the chance and shut up, they will talk, and they will keep on talking and keep on talking, okay? And that's what you want. You want a bunch of unsolicited information, because as soon as they start babbling on, then you're golden, you know? So let us know what it is that you're looking forward to in the future.
I'm looking forward to continuing to grow. I think that, especially with this drastic decrease in price, it's already afforded me to continue looking now. I'm already looking for the next deal. There's one actually on the same street as the one that this house is under contract that I'm looking at, and I plan
always
to
a good thing to buy houses on the same street. Trust me on this one.
Yeah. So I definitely want to stay in that area. I think that just continuing to grow and getting out of my regular job. I love my job, but I love going on vacation a lot more.
Sure.
So that's what I plan on doing.
Absolutely. You know, there's a couple things to note here. One is that he took action. Number 2, he went and, you know, everything that he did, he could have done on his own. Whether or not it would have happened in this time frame, whether or not he would have saved $60,000 walking into a deal, I don't know. Okay, but here's the thing is that, you know, when you go and invest your time with someone that's got years of experience, you're able to get that. Okay, you're able to get into that. And I'm not trying to get anybody to come on board with me. Okay, all I'm trying to do is let you know is that there's a lot of people out there that are like, man, I don't know if I'd do that, and that's a lot of money and everything like that. But here's the thing is that, and I hope that other mentors are like this, but I got to a point with Jared where I told him honestly, I said, man, I can't take your money. You know, there's nothing more that I can show you. There's nothing more that I can really teach you, you know. And he was like, well, let me find a deal I really like and, you know, stay on until I make that happen. And then, you know, because my whole thing is that I want everybody to wake up and basically have that screw you money. You know, if you want to hit the snooze bar 20 times, I want you to be able to do that. If you don't want to put up with that boss anymore, I want you to be able to say, hey, look, you know, I'm not putting up with your crap anymore. You know, if you're a travel nurse and you say, hey, you know what, the next assignment I don't want. I'm not going to take it. I want to hang out and I want to go to the Bahamas with the new wife and all that kind of stuff and everything. You know, that's what I want for you. I want that freedom. And if that freedom came from owning 1,000 goats, then I want you to own 1,000 goats. We live in the United States of America. We're capitalists and we keep score by money. You got to believe that, because if you don't, you will always have problems. But that's how we keep score in this country, is by dollars. So the thing is that, you know, getting on board with someone and putting forth and having that intimate relationship, that one-on-one, you have access to them, they have access to you. Hopefully that person will try to get to know you and figure out exactly where your mind is, because he already had money working in the market. You know, you already have experience with Roth IRAs, you know, 401k, you know, you got a high-paying job. And my words to him first was, don't quit. You know, get as many properties as possible while you got the W-2. You know, and so we went through some other things, and, you know, my thing is let's find out how much you qualify for, and then we can start looking at, you know, buying properties. Now, the greatest thing that he did is he didn't buy a showpiece. He bought a house that would make a good investment. He did not buy a house that would make a great home for him and his wife, okay? Yeah. Don't make your purchase through these eyes. Make your purchase through this right here. That house is going to be virtually bulletproof. It's a block home. It's in a good rental neighborhood. It's a 3-1. You know, it'll continue to cash flow. It's probably been, how old's the house? 30, 40 years old? Yeah. So somebody's been making money on it for the last 40 years. You know, I don't know too much else you can buy other than, you know, buying stock of a company that's been around for a long time and everything like that. And all with getting into real estate at his age, all that's going to do is accelerate his wealth building so much more. I've talked many times that if I was, you know, in my early 20s and I knew what I knew today, I'd be getting involved in some type of, you know, high-paying dividend stock or something like that. The thing with doing it like that is that it takes so long, okay? And if you watch my buddy Gerald Peters, you know, Gerald Peters made his money with real estate. And then he started getting heavy into the stock market with the money that he was making off of real estate and everything. So he started putting the double whammy on it with dividends and also getting paid rent. And I think he had 12 or 13 houses at one time, and he paid, I want to say, less than $50,000 for his very first house. 2-1. He calls it the working man's houses. He just likes them 2-1s, you know. And
2 of them the first time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you know, and so, you know, that's what he's made his fortune with and everything. And, you know, if you follow Gerald, you know that he's got a place in Texas, a place in the French Quarter in New Orleans, and then a place on Panama City Beach in Florida. And all he does is bounce along the coast, not having to punch a time clock. His wife doesn't punch a time clock. He drives a car that he wants and everything. He eats where he wants. He does what he wants. And there you have it. You know, he's living the dream that you, me, and everybody else is trying to get to. And, you know, through some perseverance, through some discipline, seeking guidance and direction, whether you're doing that by watching videos, whether you're watching, you know, or reading books, or, you know, actually hire a mentor to, you know, to bring into your life and everything like that. You know, there's, for lack of better words, the more time and the bigger expense you're going to put into it, the faster your acceleration is going to happen. You know, I mean, can you imagine if we all could afford, you know, $100,000 hour-long phone call with Grant Cardone, you know, for the next 6 months and do that once a week? You know, there's no telling where we would be at. So it's definitely proportional. You know, when I got into the business, it wasn't that there weren't people that had large portfolios. I just didn't know about them, you know, and I wasn't pushing hard like Jared is and other people that I know when they first got in, because I think I bought my first rental and held on to it for maybe 8 or 9 years before I did anything else. And so, you know, that was extremely prohibitive, because that was back in the early 2000s. Financing was totally different, you know, but I just wanted you all to see this is what happens when you take action. You know, This guy's got him property and everything. He'll be closing when?
The 16th.
Boom, and there you have it. So more than likely, he's going to be getting his first rent check on February 1st, and that is what it is. Well, it'll be his second because he's already got another rental and everything, but he didn't buy that house specifically as a rental, but it cash flows real nicely, okay? Very well. But, you know, this is his first property that he went after as strictly an investment property and everything, and so, you know, and that does my heart a lot of good when I see somebody, you know, pull that trigger and make that happen and everything. You know, because I know what it does for me, and you know, it's the world's your oyster, and you know, whatever it is that you choose to do. If you're born in this country, we're all born poor, but if you die poor, that's your fault. So, you got anything you want to say to anybody?
I don't. I think that I've watched enough videos and read enough books and looked at things enough to know that finally investing in someone else, in a mentor, has exponentially grown, because I can't watch any more videos. I'm Bigger Pocket style. I'm every investing platform you can imagine I'm involved in, and I never once took action on anything. It finally took somebody to say, you need to do something. You're ready to finally do it. So don't be afraid to ask for help.
And it's funny you mentioned that, because I was actually talking with Gerald this morning, and we got to talking about it, and it's like, this whole thing, there's really only about three things that you do. One, you bring money in. Number two, you put it into something that outruns inflation. And then three, you live well below your means. Okay, those three things are the secret to success, the secret to building wealth right there. It's just like weight loss, okay? I can't tell you how many people I know that have gone, spent $20,000, $30,000, got their stomach stapled and everything, and then, you know, a year and a half later, they're back, you know, gained 100, 150 pounds and everything. And the problem is that what didn't change with them was the mindset. You know, the behaviors that got them obese in the first place is what they never addressed. All they did was try to shrink the appetite, but the mindset didn't, you know, catch up with it and everything. And so, you know, this whole thing is you know, it's just about, you know, taking action. I mean, there's people that, you know, and I think Gerald said it many times, you know, sit there and, you know, well, how long have you been looking at this? Oh, about 3 years and everything. It's like, what question has not been asked that you still need to hear the answer for you to go ahead and take action? And, you know, as you said, you know, it's that fear. It's like, oh man, what if they tear the place up? Well, what if they do? You know, what if I have to file an eviction? You'll learn. I'm a pro at it. I assure you, I've been doing it for 20 years. You know, that judge would look at me and say, hey, Mr. Biggerstaff, and I'd say, hello, how are you? You know, and so, you know, these are all things that end up happening. You know, it's just part of being in the business and everything. And if you don't want to experience any of that, you know, you pay a fee and get a property manager, and then they take care of it for you. So, you know, it's just a choice. But the great thing is that we all have this opportunity. See, you and me, we'll probably never get a chance to shoot hoops with LeBron. We'll never get a chance to shoot hoops with Michael Jordan. I'd never be able to get a chance to step in the ring with Michael Tyson. But the thing is that building wealth, we're all on the same playing field. We all have access to the same things and everything. And it's just, how hard do you want to push? You know, I've seen people that got into the business and within 5 years, you know, were owning 1,000 units, you know, and I mean, they're just an absolute machine when it comes to this and everything. I'm lazy. I'm fat. I like to eat, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And you like to go on cruises and, you know, and do that kind of thing. So, you know, the world's your oyster. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And figure out who's got your money. And I want you to have a wonderful day. This is Jared. Congratulations on the fiance and everything, and first rental property. And we'll have to see about maybe doing a walkthrough video on that next week when he goes to close it and he gets those keys. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, guys.